So let's do the chanting straight away. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Tudayambi Buddham saranam gacchami, Tudayambi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Tudayambi Sangham saranam gacchami, Tadayambi Buddham saranam gacchami, Tatayambi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Tatayambi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Tatayambi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the six paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the six paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the six paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they never be parted. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Om Gati Para Samgati Buddhi Soha. Tayata Om Gati Para Samgati Buddhi Soha. Tayata Om Gati Para Samgati Buddhi Soha. So sorry for my stumbling over some words there. I was actually giggling to myself inside. See, actually, I wasn't a good example for you. Not a good example of mindfulness, awareness, conscientiousness while I was doing the chanting. I mean, first of all, sad. Leanne, old dog, passed away last week, but she has got another pup since then. And she was telling me it was a French bulldog or something like that. So that's the reason I started before we were recording classes, when you guys were let in and I could see your faces. That's why I said bonjour. Comment ça va? My French pronunciations are very bad, but I do still remember lots of phrases, lots of sentences from when I lived there many years ago. And so then I continued that with buenos dias, which is Spanish, buongiorno, Italian, which I'm actually still quite good at. Then, of course, we have Guten Tag, is German. And I thought to myself while we were chanting, and I shouldn't have done this, of course, I was thinking, actually, I know how to say good day in many languages. But actually, then I thought, but actually, my last count of being able to say thank you was 41 languages. So that's quite decent, isn't it? From just from travels, picking them up over time. I'm not going to repeat them now. That'll eat into our Dharma class too much. I just say thank you. Um, and in Dutch for Hanukkah over in Britain there, originally from Holland. The only Dutch I know, apart from the similarity or the similar or words and phrases similar to German, because I still remember some German too. And or Deutsch is Goedenacht, veel toeristen. But but that's actually remember that first of all, Welsh language is guttural language like Dutch, so it's quite easy for me to pronounce those guttural sounds. But I had to learn something way back. I was staying with some Dutch people when I went to Amsterdam. Actually, they came from Leiden, so I went to Leiden, and I had to learn some things. So I learned very polite things, and one of them was to wish them have a good sleep, good night, and have a good sleep. So I think it's important. I'm alluding to something here, okay? I'm sort of madness, but it's aiming somewhere. Um, I think it's good to learn other languages. Obviously, other languages that relate to Buddhism, Sanskrit, Pali, and the ancient languages, the languages from the countries that have had Buddhism for a long time. Good to learn the Dharma, compare, and cross-reference translations and things to get some understanding. But also from a wisdom point of view, to learn the Dharma and to absorb your mind with the Dharma, but also from active, compassionate point of view and loving kindness point of view. It's good to be able to make people feel nice. So for even like in Australia, for instance, for a couple of hundred years, it's English language has been the main language. Of course, there's many languages throughout the different nations of the Aboriginal people, um, the indigenous people of the country. And also because there's been many people moving from other countries, there's many, many languages spoken here. Um, so it's good if you come into contact with somebody from a different country, or even if they're from Australia, born in Australia, and their parents from a different country, maybe learn a greeting in that language. Maybe the local shop, petrol station, maybe your doctor, something like this. Actually, it's nice to learn a greeting and be polite. Good morning, good day, thank you. Wish you good health, things like this. And so that's from wisdom, and then you could say like the compassionate aspect of wisdom. They're not separate, but sharing it outwards, just sharing a good vibe. So before class, I was thinking I would say something like this today to introduce the class, because we're up to Master Atisha's heart advice, the commentary on that, and we're up to the six paramitas. And of course, today we're going to start to have a look at the wisdom aspect. And of course, we've gone through this many times before. So I thought, how can I introduce today? And I thought about this type of thing. But then before the class, I was joking around with Leanne, and, because her dog is apparently a French bulldog, and I said something in French. It's now led to this moment that I've utilized the different languages and whatever. And I think it's a good point, actually. I stumbled across it there today. But it's a good point to learning the Dharma, learn the initial languages. If you're studying in Chinese Buddhism, for instance, learn the Sanskrit, Pali, but also maybe some classical Chinese phrases and words related to Buddhism, and so on and so forth, like Tibetan and so on. And so you can learn in your own language, but have a clear understanding by comparing or from comparing, utilizing that. But also learn some other languages, you might as well. multicultural societies around the world mostly, just learn a greeting. You don't have to sort of say anything religious or anything, but, g'day is fine. Guten Tag is fine. Dankeschön, fine. Spasiba, Russian for thank you, it's fine. Kamsahamnida, it's Korean, Domo arigato, Japanese, so on. Okay, so good to share and make people feel nice. When people feel nice around you and they feel safe, then it's opportunity to share some good vibes with them and even share the Dharma teachings with them, through your good intentions and through your good energy. But even if they are curious, maybe they say, how come you're so happy? How come you're so polite? Well, this is the reason. Buddha Dharma Sangha, and so on. All right, so let's have a little bit of meditation practice now. Sorry for the length, quite long introduction, but at least hopefully we learned something already. So get yourself comfortable, forgetting everything I've said so far. And bring your mind inside your body, and we will release the tension from the body. From the bottom of the body, toes all around your feet and ankles, lower legs and knees, and upper legs and around your midsection. And the upper part of your body, your abdomen, to your chest, your sides, and your lower back and middle of your back, your upper back, and the neck, through to the shoulders, your upper arms and elbows, forearms, down to the tips of your fingers. And then back up to your head, back and sides, all around your face. Make sure you have a relaxed face, not clenching the jaw or frowning. And then the crown of your head. So now very briefly scan your body from the bottom to the top again, just to see if there's any leftover tension, and if there is, release it. And now bring your mind to the tip of your nose initially, and follow the feeling of the breath as we breathe in the nose all the way into the lungs, back out the nose again, all the way into the lungs, breathing in, breathing out, and focusing on the breath. You can also add the extra technique if you like to do so, of counting the breaths from 1 to 10. One in breath and one out breath is 1, and so on. But if you get distracted on the way to 10, go back to 1 at that time. Don't count past 10. If any thoughts arise as you're focusing on your breath or any other mental activity, don't cling to it or grasp at it. Also, don't try to forcefully push it away or deny it. But naturally and simply replace your mind back onto your breath. And as you do so, let go of these thoughts and the like. And if your mind starts to become dull or sleepy, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on the breath more brightly. So breathing in, breathing out. Let go of the past. Don't worry about the future. So let's practice like this in silence for a little bit. Now we can feel very pleased with ourselves and fill ourselves with universal loving kindness, utilizing the visualization technique of filling your whole being, mind and body, with the white light, which represents universal loving kindness. And really feel this universal loving kindness, this gentleness and friendliness. Should help you to feel very light, to try to keep yourself still in the body. Fill yourself with so much universal loving kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards from your heart center and enters the heart centers initially of your loved ones and family and friends that you visualize in front of you. And really imagine that they are very happy, free from suffering, very peaceful, as the white light fills their being as well. And now also includes strangers and do likewise. And enemies as well do likewise. And now radiate the loving kindness to all sentient beings, not just humans. All of the living beings that live on the land or under the land, live in the waters, fly through the air, whether born from wombs, eggs, moisture, or through transformation. Radiate this loving kindness to them as well, around your immediate area initially, and gradually further and further. So throughout your whole state or county, and all of the states and counties throughout your country, and all of the countries throughout the world, and all of the oceans, down to the core of the earth and to the outermost atmosphere, and beyond this planet, throughout the whole solar system, and galaxy, and the universe, and throughout infinite space. Also being present here and now, let's recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious body Chitta, not yet born, rise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, rise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And so I go back to what I said a bit earlier as well. It's unfortunate, it's sad for Leanne losing her close friend, four-legged friend. And also recently, a very good friend of ours also lost their pet. It's very sad when we lose our loved one, whether it be our family, a friend, human beings, or pets. Parting is always suffering, always difficult. Parting from those we loved. But also in a sense, you can say it's actually maybe if we have people that we don't like come into our lives, that's suffering too, isn't it? So best to give up attachment, best to give up aversion, and really work to develop a mind of equanimity so that less we will be affected by things like grief and separation and so forth, or separation that could lead to mind states such as grief. So But in saying that, we are human beings, so we will experience these things, so don't bottle it up. That's the other thing too. If you do get upset about something, don't bottle it up. Learn to let it go. Contemplate it, where it's come from. Contemplate the empty nature, the impermanent nature, and then let it go. Learn from it. Otherwise, it's like a kettle. I know I've given you this example before. It's an example I come up with many years ago, decades ago, and that is, if you have a kettle, obviously, as the water begins to boil, you have to have an opening to the kettle, so the steam goes out. If you don't have that, if the opening is covered up, it will blow up, become a bomb. So it's similar if we hang on to things, to anger, to frustrations, to anything, it eventually becomes overwhelming, then we will blow up. So don't blow up, okay? Let it go before. Nip the negativity in the bud. Apply the buffer zone again. Okay, so Master Atisha's heart advice. I've been enjoying giving these teachings to you. Of course, the eight verse of thought transformation, that's another short, cryptic type teaching that needs lots of explanation. But some of the other teachings, I've been able to expand upon just a word, patience, things like that. These ones, because it's just slightly different, the way the wording. It's really good for us to be able to look at something maybe or read something that is expressing it slightly different, expressing the teachings of wisdom, for instance, perfection of wisdom in a different way. Okay, so it's like old example I come up with again many years ago, and I've shared it with you many times, and that is if you look at a house, and we're in front of the house, and I point out there's the house. Actually, that's not the house. That's the front of the house, and only the outside of the front of the house. Then you have to, if you really want to get to know the house, you have to go to the sides, you have to go to the back, on the roof. Actually, to get to know the house, you have to knock the house down and then build it back up again and knock it down again. Because the nature of the house is impermanent, it is unsatisfactory, and there's no self to be found. Whether you look at it as a whole or whether you break it up into the constituents and break it up into even atoms, energies. Teaching on emptiness, by the way, just disguised a little bit, because that's the subject today. Okay. So if you really want to get to know the house, then, like I said, you really have to look at the house without attachment, without aversion, because you know what? If we want to see the house and it's our house or my house, then normally we have attachment to that house. Somebody else's house, mostly don't care. A house of your enemy, maybe you don't like that house, Or maybe you have attachment to the color blue and you don't like the color red or something. You see a red house, bad feelings. You see a blue house, attachment. It sounds a little bit like silly sort of examples, but I think you can get what I mean. We have attachment, aversion rises from ignorance, a lack of wisdom. So we need to penetrate beyond these three poisons. Okay, so I'm not picking my nose, by the way, just itchy up there. Okay. I think I told you a while ago, maybe a few months ago, at the start of the videos, when I get the video, it has like an image before it goes into the actual recording. And one of the images that come up was me going like this. But I promise you, I'm not picking my nose, just itchy. It looked quite funny, actually. Okay, so Master Atisha says, being under the influence of wrong views, you do not realize the ultimate nature of things. Therefore, investigate correct meanings. So, obviously, wrong views, perceiving everything as permanent, satisfactory, have a self, and self of other in cyclic existence, in samsara, with conditioned phenomena. This is incorrect. This is wrong view, because within conditioned phenomena, within cyclic existence or samsara, everything is impermanent. Everything is unsatisfactory, and everything has no self. Empty is empty of self. Also, you could say that we perceive certain things as pure when actually impure. Within samsara, freedom from samsara, nirvana, enlightenment, it's free from all of these, free from this dualistic way of looking at things and perceiving things. So beyond perfect and imperfect, beyond pure and impure, beyond permanent and impermanent, beyond satisfactory and unsatisfactory, and beyond self and no self. This is the teachings of emptiness. Okay, to go beyond self and no self, to go beyond conceptual dualistic thinking. Okay. So we are under the influence of these wrong views that we've developed and reinforced over lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Some of them we're going to be able to, or partially we'll be able to rid ourselves from them, especially the gross aspect, quite quickly if we practice well. But sometimes, and some aspects, will actually take a bit longer. Once again, same example, because I can't come up with a better one. The knot, you tie the knot up too tight, it's hard to undo. The same, if you tie it over and over and over again with lots of knots, it takes longer to undo it again. And this is the same with our mental afflictions that we have grasped onto and that we have thickened over time, reinforced over time, so much so that they appear to be our so-called personality or part of our so-called personality, habitual tendencies and so on. Okay. But this is not our true nature. Go back to the example of the glass, the pane of glass. If it's dirty, it's not really dirty pane of glass or a dirty window, because you can clean it. If it was a dirty window, it would always be a dirty window. It's just a window or a pane of glass. So the mind is like this. We have to clean it right now because we've had these habitual tendencies. We have all of this karma and all of the conditions that we've created over time. So we have to clean it. But ultimately, it's already clean. Our true nature is already enlightenment. Being under the influence of wrong views, you do not realize the ultimate nature of things. So we don't realize that. We may be able to understand it from a concept point of view, from an idea point of view. Of course, it's freedom from the opposites. Initially, freedom from suffering, Four Noble Truths. Also, freedom from suffering and not suffering. Freedom from self and no self. What we call Buddha nature. But even that is just words. Because the way us humans look at it, it's Buddha nature or not Buddha nature. Opposite again, isn't it? Enlightenment or not enlightenment. Nirvana, samsara. But actually this wisdom is gone beyond. Once again, I'll share the Tibetan verse. Unthinkable, inexpressible, wisdom gone beyond, unborn, unceasing, space like in nature, only perceived by the wisdom mind, homage to the mother of the Buddhas of the three times. Three times, obviously, past, present, and future. Mother of the Buddhas is, you could say, nickname, an epithet to Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, because it gives birth to enlightenment. I think you can understand that. Unthinkable, because we can't think about it with concepts. It's beyond concepts. Inexpressible, we can't really speak about it. Because when we speak, straight away, it misses the point. You think about a word, misses the point. Then you speak the word, misses the point. And the more you speak, the more you miss the point. So unthinkable, inexpressible, it's wisdom gone beyond. That's what paramita means, to go beyond dualistic thinking, to penetrate beyond this. Uh, Unthinkable, inexpressible wisdom gone beyond, unborn, unceasing, space like in essence. So there's no beginning to this enlightened mind, this perfection of wisdom, for instance, initially. There's no beginning to this. There's no end of this. It just is always. Dharma Talk. No, unthinkable, inexpressible wisdom gone beyond, unborn, unceasing, space like in essence. Like space. Actually, what time? The space is like it's, you could say, empty space in a sense, but it hosts planets and solar systems and galaxies and universes. Yeah, all of these physical things, but it does not affect the infinite space. Same with this emptiness. The wisdom of emptiness is not affected by anything. It may have physical things with it. It may have conceptual things flying around, but beyond that. And the teaching that I've written, a short cryptic teaching, that I won't go into too much detail right now, but I have shared with you before, and that is a full room is still empty. You think of this room right now, if it was full of people and boxes and things, it's still empty. Normally we think, oh, hang on a minute, but if it's full, it means it's not empty. Or if it's empty, it means it's not full. See, dualistic way of thinking again. But without the emptiness of this room, how can you fill it with anything? Impossible. Without infinite space, how can there be any universes or planets or anything, or living beings? Without emptiness, how can there be anything? Form, feelings, thoughts, impulses, consciousnesses. Impossible. So clearly perceived by the wisdom mind. So only perceived, we can perceive this wisdom when we realize this wisdom. So I can talk about it, even if I understood it fully. I talk about it, but you have to perceive it for yourself, just as I have to perceive it for myself, not just, read about it in sutras, commentaries, hear it from learned masters. We have to put the Dharma teachings into practice, especially the wisdom tools of hearing, contemplation, and meditation, to be able to get to know and penetrate beyond, get to know this nature of reality. So, therefore, investigate correct meanings. How am I doing for time? Only 1 minute and 40, but that's okay. I've got pretty much spoken about what I wanted to, even though some of it was up front. Again, out of order a little bit. Anyway, so being under the influence of wrong views, you do not realize the ultimate nature of things. Therefore, investigate correct meanings. And we'll talk about, again, there's wisdom tools of hearing, contemplation, and meditation. We'll talk about them next week. So it's like the wisdom that you gain through hearing the Dharma. The next level is the wisdom that you gain from contemplating the Dharma. And then you have the wisdom that you attain, I should say, rather than gain. Attain through the practice of the wisdom tool of meditation, absorbing your mind with this wisdom. Okay, so under 1 minute to go. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's class. And quite in depth, a little bit cryptic, without too much explanation, but I'll try to make it a bit clearer as well next week, okay? Because we talk about these wisdom tools. and how you really get to understand. I rejoice in your goodness as always. I rejoice in your studies and practice and sharing of the Buddha Dharma. And take care. Look after your mind, look after your body,